Crisis. Hey everyone, welcome to the Mid-Geek Crisis, episode 36. My name is Joe, and my partner in crime,
Pedro, Cautious Online.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Another episode. Hope you enjoyed the last one. If you listened to it at all, it's all right.
I got about halfway through. I thought it was good. It wasn't bad. It was good. We've updated on the podcast now, so
yes, it's everywhere. There was a broken link and it wasn't updating, so whatever. I got it fixed.
But always, if you don't see it, just let us know. Post up, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't see it, please just post on the Facebook page. Post, reply to us on Twitter. Find us. There we've got like 50 different methods of communication. Just like go, hey, it's not updated on my podcast.
Exactly right. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to jump right in. This week we're in kind of a lull after E3. There's not a lot to talk about, but we do.
And also, San Diego Comic-Con is in like 2 weeks, right? So I feel like no one wants to drop anything nerdly between E3 and San Diego Comic-Con because they're all saving them. They've already dropped a bunch a couple weeks ago, and now they got some more coming up at San Diego Comic-Con.
Absolutely. So we've got some mild news, but definitely some follow-ups, a lot of stuff. It's hot.
It's hot as in not at all cool anymore, right? That's
right.
So
yeah, go for it. No.
I was going to say that one of we got a couple of themes we're talking about this year. Last year was Fortnite. I feel like this year we're kind of talking about dissatisfied gamers, a little bit here, a little bit there. We're also talking about betas, right? We're always talking about betas, and I think also we're talking a little bit about the social aspect of gaming and how it's changing. Right, we used to play by ourselves in rooms, and then we used to maybe have friends over and play in the basement. Then there was a sort of big push to push everyone online to play. Right. And I feel like now we're even going through I don't want to even say like a mini renaissance, but a kind of Bronze Age,
a comeback
of couch co-op and cooperative games and interesting asymmetric competitive games along with battle royale and those kind of competitive. So I mean the landscape is sort of spread out and changing, and in light of all that, right? I think you have like the death of malls and the death of consumerism and Amazon sort of rolling in. So there was an interesting article on CNN that we saw, and we'll throw up the link, about how like there is a big conglomerate of malls in talks with Epic and Niantic, right? With how to bring sort of that video game experience into these malls so you get more foot traffic in there for folks walking around, and maybe they'll buy more things in shop, right? Mm-hmm. And this goes right in line with people putting up barcades. Right now, there's in New York City and in some like urban. I'm sure Houston has one where
like
you go have a
we're getting a new one that's opening up soon called Cidercade. So
you set up an arcade and you drink beers and you enjoy it, right? So and what that's doing is that sort of like, you've got the gaming coming full circle. Well, now people are going back outside and getting into the sunlight and like trying to it burns.
But T-Star.
But I think as a whole, like we're all. I mean, this is going to sound pathetic and sad, but we're all yearning for that kind of social connection. We've broken a lot of those, especially in the last, I want to say, 10 years. And even in the last 3 because of what's going on in politics. I think we're all yearning for that social connection, which might be why D&D has risen up so high and gaming has risen up so high, and folks are putting together everything they can to get together. And now companies are like, well, how do we profit from this, right? How do we get people to come into our malls now, play a bunch of video games, and then buy a sweater or buy Crocs? I don't know what you buy in malls anymore, but right, I don't go to the mall except to go to the movies, and even then I have to be dragged to go to those movies. And now my movies, I've got a movie tavern, right? I'd rather go there and just have a beer than actually go to the mall and enjoy the movies. So I don't know. I think it's really cool, right? I think it's one of the things. Every time I get dragged to a flea market, I'm always like, why isn't there a guy here selling old video games? Why isn't there someone set up here, like, or a gal with like a bunch of switches plugged in so folks can play in the corner? Like, why isn't there anything going on here except like old crap no one wants, right?
Yeah.
if there were more video games and gamers out there doing that stuff. And I think the malls are an interesting place for it because they are dying, and space might be way cheaper in there. Like it got to the point where it was way too expensive to run a game store, and all the stores closed. And now the space is way cheaper, and you can put in a nice big arcade for relatively low costs.
Yeah, so it's a little twofold, right? So we've got all these games. The games that are popular right now are all online games. Everyone loves to play online, but then people still want to play those games socially. So the golden age of streaming is kind of upon us right now. Everyone's doing Twitch, everyone's doing Mixer, whatever method of streaming they're doing, and they're doing it because they crave the social aspect in the sense that they don't mind people watching over their shoulders that they're playing, they're commentating, they're
interacting, they're shooting
banter. They've got chat rolling on the right-hand side. People are interacting that way. People are donating to you gaming. Like, it's weird. Like, people are watching.
You're forming connections, right? You've got inside jokes now. Have you watched anything? Like, you watch Ninja, and I don't even understand the language because they have their own, like, insular language.
So it's like, on yesterday's stream, he said something funny, and then it became kind of like the popular phrase.
They have their own internal memes, right?
Yeah, right. And that's all. That's great. It's clicky, and that's good. That's what people want.
Well, what belong to something like that?
Yeah. So companies like Fortnite and all them have seen this. They and so that's where tournaments are coming into play. They're forming kind of coalitions, like small little pockets in cities. You're allowed to just contact Epic, or as a perfect example, Niantic, makers of Pokemon Go. The Pokemon Go has had a whole new kind of a resurgence as of late. This is the 3-year anniversary. Last week was the 3-year anniversary, and it's going on. It's a month-long celebration. And they've got actually 2 months. It's going on until September, and they've got all sorts of events going on. And not only that, is my local Pokemon Go Houston community group is having an event, like a walk in the park kind of thing that they set up, and they must have contacted Niantic, and Niantic went, yes, we're going to go ahead and sponsor that. So now if you go to Niantic's website and go to events, it's listed on the event, and Niantic themselves will then, all the Pokestops in that walk area will now be more active. They're going to they're going to modify the servers for that location for that day, so that there's more to catch. Special events might happen. The lures are lasting longer. I mean, that's what they said on their own website. So it's amazing that the community created something, and then the game developer went, yes, we're going to go ahead and back it and come back around and give the community back some sort of like.
It costs them nearly nothing. The community is more than willing to invest time to make it happen. You can get the space, and Niantic's kind of clever in their social aspect, right? So like Pokemon and Harry Potter is right there,
right?
And like, it's already forcing people to get together and play. Like, I'm playing that Wizards Unite game on the bus to work, and I'll tell you what, like, I wish there was more people on the bus that played, just so we can do some of these forts on the way to work and back and things like that, right? Coordinate our plantings on all the play. I don't know. It's I don't know. Like, I'm excited for it, and I wonder if that's. Man, can you imagine that? Can you imagine like taking our kids to an arcade now, where folks are like, not like finding a dusty old one that feels unwelcome because there's like old gatekeepers who won't let you play Centipede, right? I'm talking about like new ones where our kids can sort of show up and play, I don't know, Lego Star Wars and drop a quarter in there, or old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or Golden Axe. I mean, I don't want to segue into your home arcade system. No. Like, this is this is the kind of thing that I love doing with my parents. Like, we would go to the local comic book store, and there was always an arcade machine in the back, and my mom would be like, here's 5 quarters, go play with your brother. And I would rock Gauntlet, and then my mom would join. That was a blast.
So there was Gauntlet at my local Pizza Hut down the street. The corner store that I would walk to had one of the first, if not bootleg, machines of Street Fighter. And so, like, the
Street Fighter
neighborhood would show up. You'd drop your quarter on the top, you'd put it on top of your next, and you'd kind of loop around. That's how you got better and better. There was no. The home version didn't exist at the time. There wasn't a way to practice at home. You got good, and you got good at the arcade, and it would cost you your lunch money, or you'd go and get lunch money. You'd save half of it so that you had, at the end of the week, you'd have a couple.
Rock out, right? And you also, I think, you also learn how to trash talk. Not to be like kids these days don't know how to trash talk, but
they don't.
We knew how to take it to a level but still keep it.
Well, I mean, so
I want to say like Street Fighter especially. We got in each other's faces in Street Fighter.
This is a funny segue that you're going there with, in the sense that trash talk online, there's no consequences.
Yeah, there's no emotional.
They'll say the worst, nastiest, harshest thing.
Get a reaction,
and to get a reaction, and they just laugh and you mad bro kind of culture. But if you trash talk at Street Fighter, you better back it up or you're gonna get some hands, right? Like you say something about someone's mom in their face while they're there, you're gonna lose your teeth.
Or you know how to say it in a certain
tone,
so that they say something about their mom back, and then you have rematch. Exactly.
You know, exactly. That's the kind of stuff. So like you learn to callous yourself, you learn to temper yourself, you learn to kind of hone your skills, but at the same time it was in person. It wasn't this like, you know, your mom and then like get off. You know what I mean? Like it.
Yeah. I mean, like one of my fondest memories of PAX East was that time we all started playing Street Fighter in the trading room. We had a big TV right by the entrance, and strangers were coming to play with us because we were all just joshing and trash talking back and forth and having a great time watching each other get our butts kicked, right? Which is pretty much what happened to me every time I picked up the paddle. But still, it was like a great time, right? I mean, I think about that social aspect where like now the idea of going to, you know, an arcade and trash talking with a bunch of strangers feels like I don't want to say the idea of it just fills me with joy. Like the idea of being able to have that social interaction with strangers again feels like something I've missed for a long time without even knowing I missed it. So I hope something comes of it.
So let's talk a little about what games are actually being played. So this is also kind of the other part of the conversation. It's weird. You have these games that are made for online play and only online play, but then now since esports is a thing and esports has become kind of a spectator sport, they're putting in like computers.
Mm-hmm.
So it's again, everything old is new again. We've had arcades. And then in the late 90s, early aughts, we had cyber cafes and we had LAN centers for a little bit. Like I remember going to play like Mech Warrior with a bunch of people, or playing like Doom or Quake or Unreal.
Warcraft 3, yeah, no.
Warcraft 3, and StarCraft. Who didn't like? You had StarCraft alert on there, and you'd go down to the corner to the old like shop that had closed down, and they turned it into a LAN center and.
Drop $10
computers, and you'd spend
15 minutes or an hour.
Yes. Buy like 4 hours of play. They'd have a little machine of like a vending machine, or not vending machine, a kind of a cooler of Balls energy drink. That was one of the first.
Well, we had Jolt Cola.
Cola and Balls, both of them, and that was the geek drink at the time, and it was still kind of, you know, underground in the way. It wasn't local. No one knew about it. And, the gamers would play. They would show up instead of being able to, because you had to lug around a big CRT monitor at the time, but it was a way for all your friends to play this game that you enjoyed in LAN at a location without having to carry your own machine. So this is kind of what it is all over again. It's LAN parties again, but in like a mall, which is amazing.
And weird, but also amazing. I mean, my like I think about like Blade Runner or like Cyberpunk or Shadowrun and all those sort of movies and science fiction. All of those movies had arcade machines or a scene where you could tell people were playing video games in the background, right? Like this is what people in the 80s thought the future would look like, right? Very dystopian, which we're headed towards. And then arcade machines, right? Like we're getting both in one nice smush.
Yeah, no.
I'm imagining one of these places having maybe booths or like you go to like Salt City Arcade and they've got a system set up where you can stream your arcade games right there. Like you just You come in with your card, you pay for your games, and you can play, and you're streaming your Fortnite right there.
But on your headset, you log into your.
But there's all sorts of bar. There's stuff going on in the background. Who the hell knows why? You know, maybe the bar even has their own Fortnite team that goes on, and they play four-mans all day long. People rotate in and out. They just have a great time drinking beers and socializing online, playing that way. It's like it becomes bowling or darts, right? It becomes the thing people do while doing other things.
Or they have an in-house DM and they stream D&D.
In the back room, right?
That's what we want.
behind the secret bookcase, right? That's what the cool kids go.
They pull that bottle of whiskey off the wall and it opens up and it's like a room for nerds.
Or they're like, Matthew Mercer sent me, and they're like, go right back there. But I mean, even then, why not? Why can't you rent a room with a nice streaming setup for people to play D&D in the back, you know, and things like that? Like, I don't know. Bowling alleys are closing, right? Like all these things.
It's so sad.
Yeah, they're all going away. But I think the new thing is this. This is it. This is how we're going to socialize in the future, and it's not just only online, which was, you know, what my dad used to say. All you guys do is talk online. You don't hang out anymore. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But now we're hanging out, which is a whole different cool thing. I don't know. I don't know. It just filled me with I'm not a very joyful guy, Joe, right? Like, but sometimes a news article comes up, and I'm like, man, even though we're going to be playing video games in the burnt out husk of America, that's kind of a nice feeling that at least we're still all playing video games together.
Heart pumped once.
Yeah, exactly. My black heart.
Just like, oh, what was that? Oh,
it's like a scientist at MIT being like, what did I just? what was that?
Totally. So before we jump off topic here, I wanted to kind of give a little background on, again, just because of both. One, as you guys saw on my Instagram and the Instagram page for the podcast, this weekend was kind of a project. I decided to build this arcade machine that I had purchased about a week ago, and I needed a couple more parts, and I decided to finally put it together. And there it is. It's
so is this like a kit that you picked up?
So it's sort of a kit. It starts off as just the panels, but then you still have to get all your buttons and all that. You can buy the entire kit, like buttons and everything, all together from like a place like Micro Center or even online but they want like all together, like all the pieces together from them. It's like $500. And that's not what I paid. I paid I think I paid $110 for the wood, and then everything else I bought a la carte. Like the buttons and the sticks, I think was like.
So it's like an IKEA cabinet, but you got to bring in the fillings and customize it.
You pick your T-molding though. That's nice. So
for those of us not in the know, I mean,
so arcade machines. If you're arcade machines in general, you have to stand up, and they had like the rubber sides, the rubber.
Oh yeah.
That's called T-molding. So it's wood. Just think of normal wood, cabinet wood, anything. But then they take a router and they drill a channel down the sides of it. And then what you do is you buy this T-molding, which is the thickness of the wood, and you hammer it in. It basically gives it like a rubber edge all the way around.
And that's the shit that the owner of the arcade will get pissed off when
you put out your cigarette. Or you put out your cigarette on it, or you start peeling it off. Yep, that's it. That's the one.
That's great. So how'd the boys like it? How'd the boys enjoy it? They looked like they were having a blast.
They were having a blast. They were playing. I mean, it was nice to just fire up like Ninja Turtles, the arcade machine, and be able to do that.
I was like, I want to be there. Why am I not there playing Ninja Turtles with your boys?
And so I want to build one, and maybe another time I'll build a second one. But the second one would be linked with the second monitor, and that way I can add 2 more panels. And that way I can play the 4-player games. Like I'd love to play 4-player X-Men or 4-player
Gauntlet, dude.
Gauntlet, yeah. I have like 2 machines side by side. So there is a plan. I saw someone make a really sweet one where they took 2 of those machines and they trimmed them down a bit so they're not as wide, and they put them back to back. And so they feed the same monitor, and then they just have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then so you can play like Street Fighter. You could play like Street Fighter would be like player 1, player 2 on one side, or Gauntlet would be 1, 2, 3, 4, Ninja Turtles.
Oh wow, 4. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I mean, whatever. It looked great. Is it in your office? Where'd you put it? Where is it now?
It's sitting right now in the game room, and I'm gonna set it up in a permanent spot in the game room as soon as I get a table to put it on. But
does it work? Does it work like? Can you put it up on a box so you get the right height, or does it have to be like table play?
You can tilt the monitor a bit so that it gives you the right viewing angle.
Oh, nice. That's pretty sweet. I mean, that made me a little jealous. I mean, at first I was like, this MFer, why isn't he playing games with me? And then I saw you built the arcade. I was like, all right, forgiven. Out of the year, I get it.
I built it because the kids they always want to play, especially the Ninja Turtle game.
Did they help build it, or were they just in the way the whole time?
No. They I had them push a couple of buttons in, and then they were seeing me. They helped me. They were handing me wires and tools and whatnot, kind of back and forth as I was putting it all together.
That's fun.
I did build it.
That's some memory making right there. That's awesome.
I'm going for a theme. The panel itself, if you saw, there were all sorts of stickers, and I wanted to go for like an 80s, 90s theme. A lot of like consumerism, like sodas and pizza and all this kind of stuff, and of course like Ninja Turtles is on it and like comic books and all that. But the side panel, I'm definitely gonna go for like an 80s theme, like an 80s, like maybe kind of like the show, like the synth.
You're not just gonna Photoshop yourself and me as Double Dragons on the side?
Oh man,
the original I thought that was the original flare.
Maybe I hadn't thought about it, but that
weirdos and someone comes in like, wait a minute, that's not.
Oh man, that's actually a pretty good idea. Yeah, but it's not completely done. It's completely assembled now. Now it's just a little bit of tweaking here and there, but it'll
gotta tighten up those buttons before the Street Fighter tournament.
That and I wanna. You saw that the marquee was still white. I hadn't peeled the white clear off of it, but I want to put something behind it, like a light up light, and then something that really shines on it. So
and you gotta make sure there's a slot for quarters. You gotta make that official
for sure. As a matter of fact, what's funny,
there's just Afro Man tokens, right? You just gotta make sure
there wasn't one in there. There wasn't one there, and so the kiddo was like, "Dad, we got to put one for quarters." And I was like, "Oh, he gets it. He gets it."
I mean, the great thing, you could probably just 3D print like little Kano and Ami tokens.
Just drop them in there. Absolutely. We did that on a Sunday, but on Saturday, I left the young one with mom before she left, and the oldest, Connell, we decided to do exactly that. Same thing. We went on a Pokemon raid day.
Oh, so cool.
We looked online and saw that there was a specific event going on. A specific Pokemon was going to be popping between 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at all these other gyms. So if you wanted to do it, but there were 15-man raids you had to do. So we did what any person that wants to play the game does and show up to a place with tons of stops. We went to Herman Park here in Houston, a big giant park, and there was at least 10 to 15 gyms that showed up. So within that time frame, that Pokemon was there. So we then, as a group, collectively with other people from the Houston Pokemon Go Discord, they all showed up, and so we had a group of 15 plus people walking the entire park, including my kiddo, who had my iPad, and he was like catching Pokemon, and he made it to like level 6 before we left because he had just started, and he hopped into one of the raids, and
nice.
he caught that big Pokemon. It was just hilarious.
That's fantastic. See, that's what it's all about. That's I don't know. That's sort of the positive and awesome side of gaming, right? That's the kind of gaming we want to encourage and figure out how to grow and nurture before the trolls come and try to eat it, right? We need to grow it.
So funny story about that is, again, I played Papa Bear. I constantly do that with my sister's friends. They come over because, again, they're all 10 plus years younger than me. And
you're like, get outside. You need
right. So they all wanted to go, and I was like, let's go. So I got the Tahoe, and I threw my kiddo in the car seat in the back, and then everyone else, they filled up, my sister and then 3 of her friends. And we drove, and when we got there were other people their age range. So then they got to be friends, and then they were trading like information and numbers and whatnot. So they made a couple of physical friends, people that yeah.
And your kid fantastic. Got to see, and your kid got to see, and here's like, your kid got to see adults behaving nice towards each other in a gaming environment before he jumps into the online horrors, right? I'm trying to do that with R as well. Like I want to. We actually have Salt City, or what are they? Syracuse Comic. I think it's not Salt. Yeah, Salt City Comic Con this weekend, right?
Awesome.
On Saturday. So we're going to be going to that. You'll probably see me. The one time I post on Instagram is when I go to conventions, right? So I'll probably do that because I want to show her the good side of it, the ones where people encourage each other to play games and they laugh when people die and things like that, rather than the sort of like nonsense that they have online now, and the terrible commenting community and how people react when they feel intolerably entitled to things, right?
Right.
This week has been an interesting week for seeing people just post the most ridiculous things about entitlement. So
that's a fantastic segue, sir. Because
actually, I got to say, by episode 36, we've become kind of adept at moving from topic to topic.
Yeah, and that's a great one because this is something that I mean, again, guys, if you're younger than us and you have a strong opinion about this particular story, please comment. Please let us know why. But it baffles the mind to me that people are this upset about the Epic Game Store.
I don't get it. I mean,
maybe it's because I'm a console gamer.
So much I've stopped thinking about it until you bring it up, and I'm just like, oh right, people are still upset about this. Right?
Maybe it's because I'm a console gamer, or because I've never left consoles, even though I was a PC gamer. I mean, it's just because as a console gamer, I always knew that the console I chose was the console I chose, which meant that I wasn't going to get to play every game I wanted unless I bought that other console.
We grew up literally
in the console war.
In the trenches of the console
war. You had a Genesis or a Super Nintendo.
Yep.
You had one or the other. You were made fun of depending on which one you had.
Mm-hmm. And if you had both, you were like, you're the rich kid, huh?
You're the rich kid.
That's what I remember.
Right.
You got both? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like, or you knew that one kid who had a Sega Master System, and you had and everyone else had a Nintendo, and you were like, "What the? Who? I've never seen that."
I was that kid, Joe.
You got a Sega Master System? That's amazing. But no, I mean, I remember going to a friend of mine's house who had one, and I was like, I've only heard legend of this. Like, we played all night. We played a bunch of games.
I feel like, let's play Alex Kidd in Miracle World. Let's go.
Yeah, man, Alex Kidd. I remember playing Rambo 3 or whatever on there. I think it's what it was called, and it was awesome.
Altered Beast was.
It was Altered Beast. There was a port to the Sega Master System before it was a Genesis port. But yeah, no, absolutely. So like, you chose, but I mean, there was advertisement was about that. It was like, Sega does what Nintendo don't, and now you're playing with power, and all of these things. So I know in my head that you can never unless you have the money or you're old and have disposable income, you can buy the system that you want. But if you're a 15-year-old kid who saved up his lunch money or whatever, or his work mowed a bunch of lawns and bought an Xbox, you know that you're not going to be able to play Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 because you chose the Xbox over the PlayStation. So it's like that those are the rules of the game.
Yeah.
Like, so in the PC world, I guess there's this entitlement is maybe not the word, but there's definitely this like idea that you can't have this. It's a PC. We can do whatever we want. We don't pay for online gaming. We pay cheaper than all you guys. Like, our games are 75% off like day zero. Like, because
8 minutes after they come out, the price drops.
Yeah, so I'm like, we don't pay $60 for a game. We pay $40 because we buy the key off of Green Man Gaming from like Russia. Like region free gaming. Like you could buy a key in like rupees, in some other country that's like the dollar's worth like 50 times more. Buy the game there and then download it in the US because you want to screw over the developers.
Jesus, that's elaborate. That's an elaborate scam.
I mean, that's what they do. They go online to look for the best deals, which is fine. I'm a deal getter too, but you realize what they're doing is these developers are sick and tired of this kind of shit.
So here comes a store that says we're going to give you a better cut.
A better cut for developers. We're going to region lock a lot of these games because we don't want someone to buy a key in Russia or freaking Taiwan or whatever, spend $5 on it when it's still $50 in the US. Like, so we're going to region lock it, and we're going to do the exclusivity so that you get more traffic to your game day one.
Yeah, no, I know.
I don't understand what's so bad about that.
I think.
And what makes me upset about it is it's not like they have to buy another PC. It's not like they can't. It's not like you can't load Steam.
I will never get to play The Last of Us because I don't own a PlayStation. I will every time I see a screenshot of it, I get sad. I will never get to play it unless I find someone who's willing to give me a console and I can play it. But I've come to terms with it. I can live with it. It's fine. Spider-Man looks fantastic. There's DLC coming out for it soon. Yeah,
they released DLC today for the new costumes for the new movie. They released the movie today and they released new DLC, which is fantastic. Again,
great tie-in, perfect play by Sony.
It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game. Beautiful, whatever. If you only own an Xbox, you can't play that. Unless you spend, or less, if you. But then that's where these wars happen because someone can't own the other one, so then they love one and hate the other. So I
don't hate the PlayStation. I love my Xbox though.
Right.
Actually, do I love my? Yeah, I guess I do. I love it. It's good.
It's good too. Microsoft should be paying us how much we talk about the Game Pass. I swear.
Well, I've been playing Moonlighter. I just downloaded it. I'm enjoying it, but I would have never bought this game. But I'm loving it right now.
That's good for the developer. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, why have we become this like? We have done nothing but good moves to help developers. We want them to get paid the money that they deserve. We post all these stories about how much we hate these companies laying off all these developers, or when
we don't like crunch. We feel bad for these folks. We're like, unionize, guys. You guys should unionize,
right? But then
some of us are.
Here comes a company that goes, we are going to compete 100% against the Steam store so that Steam can be better. And Steam laid off a bunch of employees. Like they laid off like 300 employees like a couple weeks ago. Like Valve hasn't made a game in like forever, guys. Quit loving this company. They are not in it for you.
No.
So why this like ungodly love for Steam? Is it because you have a giant Steam library that you
honestly, I think it's ungodly hate for Epic. It's that weird we don't like winners reaction, right? Everyone hates Fortnite to hate Fortnite. And so I think they just don't like them because they're the big dogs. And Epic, to be fair to everyone else, Epic is behaving like the big dog in it.
Well, I mean, they what they did is they released a game that they didn't know was going to be as big as it did. Fortnite brought them billions, and instead of going, we're going to go and spend it on steak dinners and pay our developers, you know what I mean? They didn't go out and like buy and like give bonuses to everybody. Well, if they did, they didn't show it very much because they immediately went back and invested. They invested in their own company by going, you know what? We're going to go pay Gearbox a crap ton of money to make Borderlands 3 a timed exclusive. Hey, we're going to pay Shenmue, Sega, Shenmue 3. We're going to bring it directly to the day one.
So that's an interesting one, right? Because it was a
Kickstarter.
So like there's even more feeling of entitlement. Like I won't lie, you and I have talked about I don't kickstart video games ever, but the things that I have kickstarted, I do feel a small sense of is entitlement the word? Ownership. Yeah, that like so when they make a decision I don't like, I'm like, you didn't consult me on this. Like what?
You didn't lay this out in the ground rules when I gave you
this out when I gave you the money. I would never give you the money. So I think
I empathize with this one. And so if you're not familiar with the story is that there's a controversy going on right now that Shenmue 3 is going to be exclusive to the Epic Store. And so because of that, if you didn't realize, Shenmue 3 was a Kickstarter game. So people bought, paid them money, and they were promised a Steam key. And
I think it's like 2 years late too. It's like wicked late.
Yeah, it's late. Whatever. The game just needs to be developed slowly so that you get a good game. But my point here is here's a game that was never going to come out. It came out and it didn't make a ton of money at Kickstarter, but it made enough money that they said, okay, fine, we're going to make it. And then they had all these investment outside. Other companies made, like Sega put in more money. You've got all this, money being dumped into it.
Kickstarter was like seed money, and they grew it.
Right, they grew that money.
Here's how we can grow it more. Epic will do exclusive with Epic because we'll get more of the money back in our pocket for our investors.
Right.
So maybe they can also use that to fund more of the game development.
Right.
Steam probably wasn't going to give them a deal because, let's all be honest, Steam's a monopoly, and monopolies don't give deals, right? They don't give deals.
They don't.
I mean, they might give it to, whatever. They have their summer sales. And then Epic, I think, is being like the super good guy here, or gal, which is really crazy, and saying we'll cover the refund costs.
Right. So there is no need to refund anybody, as in Kickstarter has a policy that they don't have to do anything, but people are demanding refunds.
Yeah.
People don't understand, and again, this is one of the things that always makes me angry every time something like this blows up with Kickstarter, is Kickstarter is not a store. It is an investment. If it doesn't happen, you don't get your product.
And if it happens differently, you get a different product.
Right. As in, you're not, even though the goals are a purchasable thing, you give us $20, you get this, that is a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Those tiers are not you buying something. Those tiers are you investing that amount of money, and they just happen to give you that item. I think that people don't understand that. They just see that as a price. That I spent $50, I should get my game. I'm like, no, but you didn't buy the game. You gave the company $50, and they're giving you the game key for free.
The weird thing to me at Kickstarter is that no one, like if I polled 1,000 gamers, I might get 2 yes responses where I'm like, hey, do you want to pre-order an idea I have for a game that's based on another game you love? I think we might be able to get it developed in 4 years. Will you pre-order it? People do that at Kickstarter all the time. They're like, here, take $50. Go for it. And then they wait 5 years for their game.
Yeah.
I mean, Star Citizen is the perfect example of...
Maybe not. Yeah. Whatever we want to call that.
People just keep giving the money. I mean, there's people that
have
pre-ordered
that game
round? 7 years ago. People pre-ordered that game 8 years ago. Like I think the technology has changed.
Yeah, they probably switched game engines. They probably
they had to midstream. They had to. That's what the second round was for. Everything changed, and they're finally talking about releasing their solo game in 2020.
Look, I get it. This doesn't have EA money. This didn't get $15 million dumped into it to give us a freaking game like Battlefront with a pretty skin and no content. Like, I get it. These developers are maybe a team of like maybe 15, 20 people.
You know what? You can make a great game. People with less money have made better games.
Right. That's what I'm saying. We go to PAX East every year. And we've seen so many developers of 1 to 2 man teams, and they've brought an amazing game to the show. And we sit down, we play these games, and we're like, holy crap. And then you turn and look, did you make this? And they're like, yeah, me and my brother.
Yep.
And you're like, that's it? Is there anyone? No, it's just.
And I'm all like, my brother and I couldn't find a fork to make this PBTA. So I'm just eating it out of the jar.
I'm just like eating out of the jar and taking a bite of bread because I get it. I mean, I get it.
Oh, we made a game. We got full time. Oh yeah, we made it.
You and me are definitely the old. I mean, again, I know this is the theme of our show that we're these old guys with kids, and we're kind of like. But I mean, like we are definitely the epitome of these old guys that are. Even though you are a pessimist and I'm an optimist in a lot of things, when it comes right down to it, we both understand game development in a very big way. Like we've come to grow that you've got friends, I've got friends in the industry. We've seen people lose jobs in the industry because of this kind of crap.
Mm-hmm.
Games aren't doing the hobby any favors. They're definitely sometimes drag it down a notch or two. They set it back a year or two, in that nonsense.
They make it uncomfortable. They make me sad.
It makes me sad, there's all sorts of sexism involved in it all.
Not to segue, but they bleed into other sort of media. So like The Witcher is a TV show now on Netflix.
Right. Honestly, I saw the image and it looked fantastic. I don't know what's wrong.
I mean, Henry Cavill could be covered in pea soup and he would look fantastic, right? Let's all be honest.
Sexy man.
He's a good-looking man, and they put him in a good-looking suit and they give him a big sword, and I'm like, sign me up. I don't even care that I don't like The Witcher, right? I don't even care that the imagery for The Witcher makes me weird. I never even played the game, but this looks like a great fantasy TV series that I would enjoy watching.
I mean, it's based off the book and the game, not just the game.
And it just looks so fantastic. It looks like it looks like Lord of the Rings fantasy, man. It just looks like high-end, amazing fantasy.
Right.
And you wade into those comments, dude, and you're just like,
I don't do it anymore.
Like people pick fights with ghosts. They're just like, oh, I hope they don't attach an agenda to this. And I'm like, all they did was post a picture, dude. No one even said anything. Why are you?
Dude. A good example of that was I went on. I was in the comments for Paul Rudd's little video of him outside of the firehouse in Brooklyn.
Right, because he's doing Ghostbusters 3.
Ghostbusters 3, but he posted up a teaser of him in front of it and kind of like talking, and then he hadn't been confirmed, but he was kind of like confirming it without confirming it.
Sure.
And the comments were like, and someone, like everyone was like, oh yeah, Paul Rudd, woo, Paul Rudd. The wife and me are indifferent about the movie. We're a little bitter about the fact that, you know, the last reboot with the ladies, which we enjoyed a lot, isn't getting its dues. So they decided to just kind of scrap it and go with 3, whatever. I like Paul Rudd. And all of a sudden in the comments, I saw someone that was just like the weirdest comment. And everyone's praising. And then one person was like, oh, another anti-Trump actor, you know, chosen. I'm like, what?
Who invited you to the
party? Do you know what Ghostbusters is about? Like, it's like, what? Yeah, right.
So there we go. That's pretty much that's pretty much. Can we have less of that, please? Can we have just like a moment for people to enjoy things before like I would understand if you were responding to someone who said that, but these people literally they roll back their like rocks and they're like
they're like this is the way I imagine it.
I hope there's no white women. It's like, and I'm just like, what?
Hope they don't make an agenda on this.
Just like,
women don't exist in this planet. Do you not live like what?
Are you reacting to someone else? And like, what if they do? Is that really gonna? Yeah, I guess it is. I'm sorry. I don't. Yeah. So anyway,
it's you order a pizza. You get home from a long day. You've been thinking about this pizza for all day. You order the pizza exactly how you want it. You get it. You open the door. You sit it down. You're gonna just eat this pizza. You crack it open. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go get a drink. And then when you come back, you find your cat taking a giant dump in the middle of this pizza. And you're like,
but not even on the whole pizza, just like on one slice. But it's ruined.
It's ruined the rest of it. Because then you feel weird. Like, are you gonna just pull that slice off and then not wonder if none of it landed on the it's just weird. So like it taints.
Now I want pizza. Thank you, Joe. Yeah. Really appreciate that. but I don't want my cat to poop in it. Yeah, you're right. I used to have Sister Joan back in Catholic school in New York City. Used to say like you can't enjoy a refreshing glass of cold water with a drop of poison in it, right? She would say like, even though everything is great, and I'm paraphrasing it, sorry, Sister Joan, even though everything about this situation is great, you're still ingesting that poison. You're still, and I think it was more like you got to invite Jesus into your heart was really probably the message somewhere there. Somewhere, and I'm not suddenly saying that.
Is Jesus the water or the poison?
Oh, she was talking about rap music. She was like, even though the beats, I think she literally was like, even though the beats might get you moving, you're still inviting the devil into your heart. So even though
man, no, it's not cool. Oh, no.
What I'm saying is that these shitty gamers are the devil. I lost it. Cut it. We can cut this, right?
No. That's great.
Thank you, Sister Joan. But I remember the lesson being like, it's you need to, even though you're enjoying, you have to be aware of the fact that you're still exposing yourself to bad things, which I think is what these gamers are about. And maybe taking them to a bar and playing some arcade games together might get them to realize that like not everyone's out to get them or to ruin their good time. Like we're all just here to have a good time. The Witcher looks great. I mean, I don't want to. Looks great. Looks like a great show. I might enjoy.
I'm excited for it. I like Henry. I think you know he could sell me car insurance, and I'd be like, yeah, sure, whatever. I'm a big fan. I'm a super fan of him. I think he's done great.
Dude, you need car insurance, right?
You need car insurance. I'm just saying, like he could sell me just the car insurance. He could sell me whatever you want. He could, like, I don't know. You read the phone book, and I'd be like, cool. I'm going to listen to this.
For him, I buy the floor mats, right?
Yeah,
that's
right. Right. There you go. And you know, fandoms all aside, something big is happening in the comic industry tomorrow. As of recording tomorrow,
okay.
Robert Kirkman officially ends.
Yep.
He did. So tomorrow, the final, I think it's 170 something, 174, 70.
193?
193. Yeah, something like that. It was 190. Yeah, I was like, 192.
I remember thinking, like, you couldn't push it to 200? Like, what?
Yeah, it's like, can you 7 more issues? Give me an epilogue.
Give me a round number, please.
Yeah, and I'm behind about 40 issues, give or take. I mean,
I think I'm in the same place. I stopped at like book 27 or 28.
Because you buy them in the trades, and I had 14 of the trades at one point, and then I let someone borrow them, and then they broke up with a family member, and yeah. So,
oh, dude, and you're like,
Could I get those back?
That sucks, dude. That sucks.
Yeah. You know, whatever. Anyway, I loved it. I've talked about this maybe before, maybe not, but I've definitely talked about it to other people. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, and I was a big comic fan before the show. And I'm not trying to put my
dude, this is what this show is about. Come on,
right? But at the same time,
the first half hour talking about how arcade games were better than the way people play games nowadays.
Shake our stick at it. No, so to be said, I love the comic book. I think the comic book has a better story arc than the show. I think I was with the show up to like season 3, and then at that point I was like, where are you going with this? And I'm like, not because I didn't want to see the exact same thing as the comic, but they were definitely making some weird choices that I was like, okay, I wouldn't have gone that way, but whatever. And I just wanted to see, just like any comic book fan, you want to see certain moments in live action.
Yeah, you're hoping for it.
We didn't get a lot of that because there was some of these scenes, amazing, epic moments. Because if you're not familiar with The Walking Dead, it's a black and white comic, and there are some great splash scenes that happen, like very shocking scenes that have happened in the comic book that you're like, I can't wait to see them in the show. And then they kind of skip over that kind of stuff, and you're like, where are you going with this? And they run their own direction, which is fine, just like Game of Thrones.
Your own show,
yeah, whatever. I get it.
And then you watch 4 episodes where nothing happens, and then it's 2 episodes of torture porn, and then 1 episode of to be continued, and then you're like, wait, what did I just?
Yeah. Well, in the comic book, there was a very different pacing, of course, but the comic book was always slow. I mean, again, 193. You would think that would be like a few years, but it didn't come out. There was sometimes months that an issue wouldn't come out.
Yeah, I mean, it's even if they were doing an issue a month, it's still over 10, 11, 15 years, right? It's still a significant amount of time if they were doing one a month. And I know there were gaps, like you say, there were gaps of months. Like Saga. Saga's another great series that I feel like there's just like year-long gaps between issue releases or book.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman would run off and do something else. He would do Invincible. He was doing other things. What's great about it, though, is it's coming out tomorrow, so you'll be able to buy the book and you'll see the ending that he wrote. But a great article on IGN. In an interview, he talks about how he was going to end the book very different. He was going to end it a specific way. I'm not even going to say it. There's an article on it, and I don't want to read it because it'll spoil it. But the way he ended it was kind of tragic and dark. And I like his introspective commentary was, I was younger then, and I wrote things that way because I just thought that they were cooler that way. So you can really see that The Walking Dead has grown with him. I remember early on he would talk about Rick as not being the main character. He would say Rick is just a character, and I could kill him off tomorrow in an issue.
Yeah.
It wouldn't matter. The Walking Dead was still.
He really abused him too.
He really did abuse him. He abused him a lot in the comic book. But spoilers or not, I mean, Rick is still around. So he did become the main character. He is the main character, and which is very different. I think the show took the route where Rick is no longer the showrunner.
He left, right? Didn't he leave?
Yeah, last season he ended.
Yeah.
So that was a kind of a big deal. The show's still going on. I don't know where they're going to go with it now without Rick. I think Rick holds together the big part of the show. So
he's like the everyman. It's a shame that that's the guy, that character again. But yeah, that's the guy everyone gets sort of put themselves on. And
right. But what's great about it is the character definitely grew with Robert Kirkman. You could tell that just a character to him, where he was trying to tell a bigger picture, but then he kind of grew into Rick, and he maybe became Rick, and then he felt bad for Rick, even though he abused him so much, and he allowed him to live as many times as he did. So I'm excited to see how it ends. I'm not going to read it tomorrow, obviously, but it makes me want to, now that I know that it is ending, I knew it was ending about a year ago.
It makes me want to catch up, actually.
So that's what I'm going to probably do.
I was like, oh, it'd be good to have the whole run, because I've got most of them up there in the little soft cover
I love those. They're great. You flip through them. And
you know what I like about them? I can lend them out one at a time, and if it never comes back, all I have to do is buy one. Yeah. That's lending library, man. No, I know. It's family. It's tough. Or
it would have been.
It would have been. It's interesting, right? You know what? I started that article, but I was like, oh, I don't want it to be spoiled, so I stopped. I want to go back because, did you ever read Cerebus by Dave Sim?
No.
So he had the same sort of I think he had the same sort of growing up moment, but instead of not being, I don't want to say angry or dark like Kirkman did, I think he went darker and got angrier, right? So it's interesting, that putting yourself on the page like that, if you don't get the right feedback, I don't know if Kirkman got the right feedback. I know Sim didn't. I wonder if getting that positive feelings will help you develop in a way that's not so dark and grim, like Sim went full
maybe maybe I don't know if he's familiar, maybe he watches his own show or watches the show, that maybe he saw the show and saw the reaction and the things that he was getting from the show and going, hey, maybe this is not a good way to go, like that.
It could also be, you get the reaction from the fans, right? Nowadays you can actually, for good or for worse, for better or for worse, right?
It gives you instant feedback immediately.
Look at George R.R. Martin, right? Honestly,
that dude
he's not finishing the books. I would put $100 now that he's not finishing the books anymore. Why would he? At this point, I'd be like, F you guys. I hate you all.
Puts on his own captain hat. And
I know, put the captain hat and walk into the sea, right? What? He just gets on a boat and just goes to Westeros or wherever the heck
he just walks. You just see him walk Terminator style right into the water, just like where's he going? Can he breathe underwater? What's going on here? He just returns to the sea like Poseidon.
And pages bubble up, right, and then melt back into the ocean.
Returns to what just came. Oh my God!
You guys, you don't deserve me yet.
You don't deserve me yet. It just disappears. So good. No, true though. It's definitely the better of the creative method. A good example to this is Tolkien wrote his entire book and then died. Right, and then we got movies.
He did some other things.
Well, I know, but what I'm saying is he passed away before the entire epic that is the Warner Brothers Lord of the Rings.
Right. Before, his family got the money.
His family had money and all that kind of stuff. But those came out good. But what I'm getting at is could you imagine something nowadays being written George R.R. Martin has the benefit of being so popular early on that he got a show before he even got to finish the story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think J.K. Rowling got that benefit of the doubt there as well. She wrote the last book came out as the movies were coming out. So
was it last book first movie, or I thought it was sixth book first movie? I don't even remember the time.
It was 4 to 5 books in, and then the first movie came out, and then we kind of as the movies came out every other year, every 2 years or so, the books took longer to write, and then by the end of it all, you got the last book and then a few years later, the last movie.
Yeah.
It was definitely kind of, but she got to test a lot of that. Like it's kind of a way where you can change things in one form of media to another so that you don't get an exact same reaction from both sides. So, what you choose to be canon is obviously your book, but if the movie gives you kind of a better moment, maybe a character dies in the book but stays alive in the movie because you choose it. That's what I'm saying, is George R. R. Martin has this benefit now to kind of go, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to, even though he might say that that's not how I wrote it or whatever, or maybe he let them have creative. I think that's how he wrote it. That's definitely the outline he gave them, and then in the long run he was like, that didn't play out how I wanted it to.
It didn't play out the way.
Back to the drawing board.
I don't know. I still haven't seen the last 3 episodes, so.
It's funny. I didn't watch.
Once Arya killed the Night King, I was like, well, I'm not interested anymore. That was a great ending in my mind. Like, I don't need to see it. I don't need to see a march on Cersei.
I watched like the first 2 episodes of this final season, and then I watched a little bit of. I watched like a catch-up scenario, kind of like a big like conglomerate. Like just
how did you not watch that 3rd episode? That's the only one that's worth watching.
No, I watched like the first 3 episodes, give or take.
Oh, right.
And then I watched a little bit of the dark one, the one that was all in
the Battle of Winterfell.
You
watched a little bit of that one.
A little bit of that one, just because it was too dark. But I did watch big clips of the
even on your 4K screen with your 3D glasses?
I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. But what was funny is I did watch big chunks of that re-edit that got put up online where someone like brightened it, and it was like,
oh really?
This is exactly what I imagined. It looks really cool this way. Like, why didn't they do that?
I don't get what decisions they made to put that.
I don't know. But then the one episode I watched all the way through after all of that was the last one, because I wanted to see how this train wreck ended. And maybe because I wasn't invested, I was like, I'm okay with this. I'm okay with this.
I don't need to have seen the last.
And then the next day, everyone was like,
you know what I did? I just consumed the memes, which I think is the way we all consume media.
That's what I did too. I was like,
I just watched all the memes. I'm like, oh, the memes are good. The memes are spicy coming out. This splendid.
Spicy memes. No, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, crazy.
So wait, while we review things that people watched months or years ago, I finally saw Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, and maybe the best comic book movie I've seen in the last 10 years.
Yes.
Just brilliant from beginning to end. The animation took a minute or two to get used to, but once I got it, it was splendid. Loved it. Nothing makes me happier than to have my kid turn to me in the middle of a movie and go, Spider-Man's my favorite. And I'm just like, yeah, kiddo, like, you're getting it. And I mean, Miles Morales' Spider-Man is her favorite, right? That's her Spider-Man, which I'm like, oh my God, I grew up with Peter Parker. Actually, she likes Spider-Gwen. Like, she just loves Spider-Girl. She wants me to get comic books for her. And
a spin-off movie. So.
Yeah, of course she is, because that character is awesome, and that's what we need more of. And with the multiverse, you could play around with this, and hopefully, Angry Nerd Commenter 193 can just, STFU. Like, please, just let people enjoy the things they enjoy. She loved it. We've already seen it twice. We do movie nights on Friday. We've already seen it twice since that Friday, and I mean, it's fantastic.
It's just also a movie that you can watch as many times as you want. There's not a dull moment in that movie.
Oh, dude, and there's so many clever things on second viewing, and just a fantastic.
The soundtrack,
the way they played around with the retelling of origin stories, but the consistent theme of Spider-Man, connecting them all, just even connecting it to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, connecting it to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. You like the way they've connected.
Anyone can wear the mask.
You just got to get back up. Like it's just so it was such a loving fan letter to the whole Spider-Man universe.
Felt the love.
I felt it so much, and it just I don't know. It was just I'm getting like my hair's coming up just thinking about how great it was, and I wish they had done that with X-Men or Fantastic Four. And I'm just like, where was this energy and brilliance with the other ones? Like where? But we got it with Spider-Man. You know what I want that for? I want that for Batman. I want that for Superman. I want that feeling because that and Miles Morales and the voice acting was just spectacular. Like it was just great.
All so the way good. Through. There was good animation.
And I want Nicolas Cage in all my movies. Just for the record, I don't.
It's one of the reasons why I have that Pop Funko. I have the noir
Spider-Man noir.
He's got the Rubik's Cube in his hand.
It's fantastic.
It's so great. And it's like, I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna take it with me.
So I love it. It's so
because he can't see color, right? Like that's what it is. He can't see, like he's all black and white, so even he sees everything in black and white.
And the wind smells like rain, and I'm like, oh god, Nicolas Cage, I love you so
much. You should play so. I love it. He chewed up the scenery where he could. It was great.
Well, he is. He's great, and why the heck not? Why is he not a voice actor in every single comic movie ever? I don't know. He's great.
He's great. He's great. He plays Superman in the Teen Titans Go movie, which is
really?
Yeah, he plays.
That's great.
Superman in that one, so I thought that was really funny because he's always wanted to play Superman, of course, and he's
in Ghost Rider. He's in Kick-Ass. I feel like he's been in like 1,000.
He's like he takes any role. You just throw a script at him. I mean, he's walking down the street. You just throw a script at him, and he shows up on your set the next day.
He's got a lot of bills to pay. He's got a lot of bills to pay. He hasn't done. Has he done the DC Marvel crossover?
I don't think he's done a DC role yet.
I don't think he's done a DC role.
Definitely done a Marvel role, but
it's only Ryan Reynolds has done that.
Yeah.
He's done that move.
Yeah. Last one, real quick. Last little story I want to touch base on, just because again, theme of our podcast. We talked about game development in general. I want to circle back just on the last bit of news that came out today.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to touch base on it because I think it's a good story, even though it's a sad story for the fans of the game. It actually is a good story for the fans as well. Cuphead, the DLC, is being pushed back. It's being pushed back. So the Delicious Last Course, which was announced last year at E3, 2018. With a new playable character, Chalice. So it'll be the female protagonist is added to the game, plus a whole new section of the game with some footage was shown there. It was supposed to come out this year before the end of the holidays, and they've pushed it back to 2020. So we're now pushing it back. What makes this a good story is because they, to quote them specifically, it says, furthermore, the development of the original game taught us a great deal about the importance of making things in a way that's healthy and substantial for our team. So they're basically not wanting to do the crunch, not wanting to force themselves to have a deadline. They make the game. If you haven't watched any behind the scenes on this game, Cuphead is, yes, it's a beautiful game. Yes, it deserves all the love it gets, but it's also hand-drawn.
Yeah.
Like sprite by sprite is hand drawn. It's not computer. It's not flash animation where they make one person and they just change the hand motion or whatever. This is like every sprite is like Disney caliber animation,
which is why it is gorgeous.
Yeah, which is why it's gorgeous. So it's probably taken them a very long time. They're a small team, a very small independent team, and they are not wanting to push their staff.
Good for them.
Good for them. Absolutely.
Will it be at PAX East? That's my next question, right? Because 2020, that's
yeah. It'll be at PAX East for sure.
So yeah, good for them, man. When they were at PAX East, right? We got to play it first, not first day, but we got to demo it there. Maybe I remember seeing it and being like, "Oh my god, what's that beautiful thing?"
We got to play. We got to play it at PAX East before it came out.
Again, this is the sort of indie. I want to say this is indie, and this is that. I don't want to say that generation.
Flexing in a way that they're going, we make an amazing game. We are still an independent studio. We are not owned by anybody. We set our own rules and our own standards.
Yep.
We don't bow down to.
And we're not going to use up our people to meet an arbitrary deadline.
Right. There's no reason. It's not like video games are canceled. Because they don't come out. You just have to wait.
The game, and they don't want to put out trash.
Yeah, they don't want
to put out a bad DLC. That's great. Good for them, man. I mean, we might see that. We might see more studios go that way. I'm hoping, but also we might not. Right? What's the next big? I mean, Borderlands 3. There's a bunch of stuff coming out in the back half of the year that we should all be watching and maybe talking about some more. Maybe next week we'll do a little overview. what's coming out besides Borderlands 3, which is the only game I'm waiting for. But I know like Destiny 2 is launching a big drop. Division 2 is hinting at a big drop. There's a lot of games that are coming out in the back half.
Oh, yeah. All sorts of stuff, just to round up a little bit, and we'll talk about it more next month. Division 2 is rounding up some stuff that's coming out. Apex Legends just launched their Season 2 with a whole new character. Looks pretty cool. I think Watson is the name of the character. She's looking like an amazing character. I saw some gameplay of her, and I'm interested in jumping in on that.
But their battle pass looks better, and I guess bigger maps. But
which is really cool. Another thing, which it's so weird to me, but Final Fantasy, what is it, 14? Is that 14? 14? They're online. Their new Shadow Ringer. What's it called? It's their new expansion. Has an amazing gameplay, and it's getting. I read an article that said that it's pretty much an expansion that's just making this game Shadowbringers. It's an expansion completely worth it. Like they not only does it make the game, but it's one of those expansions that isn't changing the game, but it's making the game new all over again.
Wow.
So they're saying it's great.
So I haven't played a PC MMO in so long. I wouldn't even know what to do with. Like I wouldn't even know how to play one.
Yeah. I don't know either. I couldn't even jump in on something like that again. But sometimes it makes me want to, just to kind of like.
Sometimes I'm like, I think to try that, but
there's definitely a little bit of a FOMA.
Yeah, but I don't have time, dude. I
don't have the time, right? I don't have the time.
I'm barely getting to the games I'm getting to.
So we're going to sign off, but plans for this weekend for a holiday. This is right before 4th of July, so
Thursday we're going to do some fireworks with family members. Not family members, but our family is going to do a 4th of July celebration with another family that we're close to. Occasionally we hang out with. You know them, dude. The ones that used to live next to us.
Okay, yeah.
So we're gonna do that, and then this weekend's Soul City Comic Con. So I'm gonna do that on Saturday probably, and then Sunday I'll probably take it easy. I gotta do some stuff around the house, clean out things and finalize all this bills and stuff like that. You know how it is. I gotta do some adult stuff.
Adulting.
And
are you off Friday?
No, I gotta go to work. The dairy doesn't stop, dude.
I know. No, it's interesting. I think it's I haven't remember 4th of July being in the middle of a week like this.
It happens like once every 7 years, and it's a bummer every time.
Yeah,
right? Like it's just like
I feel like most companies should have just been like, at least big corporate ones, that like why give them Thursday off only to call them back Friday and then have them the weekend? Like
I feel like most companies would like take Indigenous Peoples Day, right? They take that day and just say, okay, we won't give you that one off. We'll give you the Friday, so you have a 4-day weekend, right? You'll get the same number.
Is that what? I mean, I thought we moved that to Columbus Day, right? Like we removed Columbus Day, we canceled Columbus Day.
I mean, that's what I'm calling it now, as a way of canceling Columbus Day. But I think it used to be like, I mean, when I worked for a big corporation, it was like a floating holiday. Sometimes we got it off. And sometimes they would be like, well, we took it and made this a 4-day weekend or this a 5-day weekend instead. So they would.
That's a good way of doing it.
They would strategically, they just be like, sometimes you get that Monday off. No one complains. But usually we get a 4-day weekend or a 5-day weekend in the summer, which was always great. So I don't know. I feel like you go into the office on that Friday and most people took it off vacation day. So you wind up like catching up on work. That's usually my enjoyment of a Friday is. I wind up like being like, wow, no one else came in. I'm just going to get all this stuff done that usually people would interrupt me with. It's not the worst. I'd like to work from home, but I'm not quite in an environment that thinks people work from home. So,
I definitely know how that works. I sit at my desk sometimes, and when there's no one in the office, I can crank out a project or two. But if it's a busy day, everyone's like, hey, and so like. You end up doing 3 other projects.
Like, do you not see that I'm wearing these? Does this not say "Do not disturb"?
Our company's weird. Like they give me these projects to work on, and I love working on them. But then if I put my headphones on, I get this like weird, like everyone thinks I'm being antisocial, and I'm like, well, but like I gotta get this stuff done.
I got your work done. Welcome to working with people like us.
Yeah, right. That's what like. Just throw me in a closet somewhere, man. Like, let me move sometimes I grab my laptop and I move to like a conference room or whatever, and I'm like, I'm gonna go work for,
I went to work at a standing desk, and like I don't think anyone uses that desk. I don't know how it got there. Maybe they bought it as a joke for somebody. I don't know. But when I used it, the looks I got, they were like, "What is this guy doing?"
That's so funny because everyone at Apple back in the day was on a standing desk.
Yeah, of course they were.
They all moved to like the standing desk. Because we had these cubicles, and so they basically put in a work order, and all of a sudden they'd come in and they'd move they'd move the cubicle seat up, so all of a sudden everyone's iMac is like covering up everything. You're like, what's going on? And then so like you're the only one in your row still sitting down, all lounging. You're like, what's going on? Everyone's all healthy and like running track and stuff while they're working, and I'm like, I'm gonna eat my cheeseburger now.
I know. Is there like a laying down desk? Because I'd rather.
That's what I want. Can I get one of those desks where my iMac is hanging above my head? Like that? Like, how do I do that?
I don't know. So I'm not going to be using that again because I've already got quite the reputation in the office for being the like weirdo nerd dude. So.
Oh, dude, yeah, whatever. I'm the type of person that would milk that.
Oh, I do all the time.
It's just like oh, you think I'm weird? I haven't showed you anything yet. you show up with like the weirdest thing.
You're like, no, don't go there, Pedro. Why do you always go there?
Guys, have a happy 4th of July. We'll be back again next week. Again, like, subscribe, share. Music from here 4. If you've got any questions or concerns, reach out.
Post up. Let us know what's going on. Let us know about your games. Let us know what you did for the weekend. Rock and roll.
Have a good one, guys. Episode 36 in the can. Have a good one. Bye.